I've said this before, but nothing on the left-hand path can visually and aesthetically outdo that personification of the dark absolute called the goddess Kali. Look at her. Isn't she beautiful? She is the savage form of the mother goddess, represented with the most outrageous features of all the gods. She has 4 arms with a scimitar in one hand and the head of a demon in another, while her other 2 hands bless her followers. She has 2 rotting heads for earrings, a necklace of skulls, and a skirt made of human arms. Her wild black hair and nudity portrays the primal aspects of nature, while her wide eyes, alert with the fury of 2 molten pits, are an expression of her violent intensity. Under the 3rd eye of Kali are the signs of the sun and moon, which represent the driving forces of the natural realm. Her black complexion is the darkness from which everything is born and everything shall return. For Kali is the substance of reality, the darkness upon which the stars shine. It is therefore believed that the concepts of black and white, good and bad, do not apply to her. She is the pure, unmanifested energy, the Adi Shakti, and she will continue to exist even when the universe does not. But with her, as with all left-hand path deities, we risk madness. With this madness, Kali both creates and destroys, as death feeds on life and life feeds on death. And this brings us to the Thuggee. Now, I think we all know what a thug is, right? But many don't know the roots of the word thug. The word thug stems from Thuggee, which originates from the Sanskrit word meaning deceiver. And Thuggee was a cult of Kali. And no cult has ever murdered more people than they have. Like most trades in India, Thuggee as a profession was hereditary, passed down from father to son. The minimum age for initiation into the cult was 10. The youngsters were then allowed to observe their fathers at work from hiding places, a safe distance from the point of attack. And at the age of 18, they were permitted to make their first human sacrifice to Kali. Initiates were trained to murder quickly but quietly using the rummel, a strong cloth noose tightened around the victim's neck. Strangulation was the mode of murder because the strongest rule of the Brotherhood was that one should not shed blood. For it was said that Kali taught the fathers of thuggery to strangle with a noose and to kill without permitting the flow of blood. This was because, according to legend told to Thuggee initiates, Kali once battled a demon that roamed the countryside, devouring anyone in its path. But every time Kali drew the monster's blood, it would splash upon the earth and a new demon would spring forth. Fed up with this bullshit, Kali created 2 men armed with rummels and instructed them to strangle the demons. When their mission was completed, the goddess insisted they keep the rummels in their family and use them to destroy any man not of their kindred. Hence the first Thuggee. Going Thuggee was a seasonal occupation, with the members leaving the village after the fall harvest, October-November, and returning around June-July before the rain set in. 100% mortality of their victims was the goal of the Thuggee. Working in threes, one of them would loop the rummel around the victim's neck, another would press his head forward, while the third would grab his legs, tackling him to the ground. And if the intended victim got away from the first three, he would run into scouts posted at the edge of the jungle. All victims of the Thuggee were sacrificed to Kali, for the members of the cult would have been enraged by any accusation claiming they killed only for material gain. In fact, they believed they were saving the world, for each murder prevented Kali's arrival for another 1,000 years. According to 19th century writings about the Thuggee, the will of Kali was revealed to them through a very complicated system of omens. And in obedience to her will, they at times traveled hundreds of miles and many days following their intended targets before a safe opportunity presented itself. But they wouldn't just kill anyone. Brahmins, the holy men, were exempt, as were musicians, dancers, the sick, because they weren't considered a worthy sacrifice. And women weren't killed, because they represented the human incarnation of Kali. And it was said that after the victims had died, their joints were broken to speed up the process of decomposition and to prevent the swelling of the graves, which would attract dogs and wild animals. When the sacred act was completed, a ritual was performed in Kali's honor, and a significant portion of the spoils were set aside for her. The true origins of the Thuggee cult are unclear. Because of how thorough and well organized they were, the Thuggee were seen as regular tax-paying professionals who continued to practice their craft for centuries, free of inquiry from Hindu rulers. This was until 1812. That year, they first came to the attention of the British authorities with the alarming reports of groups of stranglers going around the countryside murdering travelers. At first, there seemed to be little connection between these bizarre killings. This was until the bodies of 50 victims were found stuffed in a series of wells in the Ganges area. It was estimated that there were upwards of 40,000 murders annually due to the Thuggee, stretching back as far as anyone cared to count. Some put the overall total for the 19th century to be as high as 2 million. Mass murder on this scale could not have been kept secret for so long unless it was performed by a highly organized group. The similarities of the murders convinced the authorities that they were dealing with one secret society or cult. But fun and games for the Thuggee could not last forever. The British authorities came down hard on the cult, ironically sentencing most of the Thuggee they arrested to the gallows. And it was said that those condemned to die showed little emotion, often requesting that they themselves be allowed to place the noose around their own necks, the final sacrifice to Kali. And by the end of the 19th century, the British declared the Thuggee cult extinct. In conclusion, my friends, not all followers of Kali are or were Thuggee. Most are peace-loving right-hand path types, while others are like us, the practitioners of the left-hand path who believe she epitomizes the essence of the true mother goddess. For with her harsh, unforgiving features represents the primal beauty revealed in the shadows of existence. Until next time.